Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, a podcast we talk all things about the fantastic, amazing, and spectacular professional wrestling company that is Stardom. Folks, we do it in a positive and would like to think fun manner. I am your host for this week's episode. My name is Matt Turner. Folks, we will not be joined by one Mr. Rob Goodwin today. I know he's slammed at work, and then we throw in the holiday schedule we're having over here in the United States. Yes, it is the week for giving thanks, but actually, I think every day we should give thanks for the blessings we have every single day. But it's Thanksgiving week here in the United States, so I'm going to be away for a day and a half or so. So it's kind of throwing off this recording schedule. Not only that, but Stardom having like 6 shows in like 9 days kind of throwing things off a little bit. So just here today, we're going to be reviewing the shows from the 23rd and the 24th of November, nights 8 and 9, respectively, of the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. So that's what we're going to be doing here today. And Rob and I are kind of going back and forth on where if we're going to do like a little mini finals preview. Maybe we'll record that on Friday, since the semifinals and finals are both Saturday and Sunday. So we're just trying to find time, an hour and a half or so, where our schedules will mesh, where we can do a finals preview of who we think is going to win. Because we did have both of us had O2 line winning the whole entire thing, and we're like 5, 6 shows out, and they're not even going to qualify for the 3 playoff teams. So we were way wrong on that. For your YouTube viewers, I'm going to be adjusting my camera here just a little bit because I don't like the way that. There we go. There we go. Okay, yeah, there we go. And then boom. I just like to have Azumi high speed champion picture and Sai Kamatani Wonder Star champion picture aligned. And then the other side, Starlight Kid mask and all the other great stuff. So again, folks, you don't subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free. All that great stuff. You get to see this fancy background that my wife made for me. But I hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody's having a great day. It's a little cold, chilly, rainy day here in northeastern Pennsylvania. We are, as of this recording, 1 month away from Christmas. And myself, Rob, and my beautiful bride are 1 month away, a little over a month away of getting on a plane and heading over to Japan for all of the great professional wrestling that we're going to be seeing and covering, not only for the Stardom Cast, not only for the Marigold Standard, but Talk Joshi as well. I know there's a lot of listeners that said they're going out to Japan. If you see us, guys, come say hello. Come say hello. Take a picture. Stop by. Please stop by. We have a lot of people sending me emails and messages like, "Hey, if we see you at shows, can we?" Yes, absolutely. If you see myself or Rob, please say hello because it's gonna be a great time. It's gonna be a great time. We'll try to maybe do like a fan meet and greet. I know I've had a couple people send me emails, stardomcast22@gmail.com, by the way, ask if we're gonna do a fan meetup very similar to like what we did in Philadelphia. The only thing is in Philadelphia, it's kind of like my backyard, and I kind of know the logistics, or I have friends that know the logistics. Japan, obviously, I've never been there before. I've been out of the United States once to go to Canada for WrestleMania 18. But so I don't know. I know a lot of people said, hey, maybe we do a meetup or something. We'll kind of play that one by ear. We'll call that in the ring, as we say. But yeah, again, folks, if you see us out and about or want to meet up at a show, and get a drink or something or beforehand, please, you guys know how to get a hold of us. Real Rob Goodwin, the Stardom Cast, at Matt Turner OF. We are easy to get a hold of. So, folks, again, this one's going to be a quicker episode. And obviously, Rob has provided me the notes for the attendance figures, and we're going to go over the current standings as of the 25th of November. I believe there is a show on the 26th, and then the show's on the weekend. So we're going to go over the current standings as of the 25th of November. I'm not even sure where everybody stands because it's just been a crazy yet blessed week. But folks, just one little tidbit of news that I do want to talk about. Everybody loves a good list. ESPN did release their top 30 wrestlers under 30 years of age. And of course, the internet blew up. Dominic Mysterio over MJF and Kyle Fletcher and Braun Breaker. What? Guys, it's subjective. ESPN will always favor the WWE because the WWE is the biggest wrestling company in the world. And guess what? WWE is on the ESPN app. So, of course, they're going to go that way. And this list is subjective. What really kind of blew my mind, we got 3 Joshis on here. I didn't think that ESPN would put 3 Joshi. I figured if they're going to put a Japanese wrestler on there, it would be somebody maybe from New Japan or Pro Wrestling Noah, something like that. But the fact there's not 1, not 2, but 3 Joshis on here. We have Sari, Number 16, the former IWGP Joshi champion. Coming in at number 17, but number 1 in our hearts, Saya Kamatani, the current World of Stardom champion. And then coming in at number 20, all right, 25, Starlight Kid, the former Wonder of Stardom champion. And obviously, a big shout out to number 24, Megan Bayne, the busiest wrestler in the history of pro wrestling, Megan Bayne, coming in at 24. So again, shout outs to not only Sari and Sai and Starlight Kid, let's give it up for one Megan Bayne coming in at number 24. So that's awesome. I know a lot of people like, Matt, Azumi should have been on this list. Absolutely, Azumi should have been on this list. But I was just excited to see those three wrestlers make this list. So again, good on Sai Kamatani, good on Sari, good on one Starlight Kid as well. And again, good on Megan Bayne. Good on Megan Bayne. So really excited to see that. But folks, without any further ado, let's get into these shows. Again, two shows. This is just going to be a quick hitter, and then we'll do the EO and Kyrie watch, which again, shout outs, my main man, Darren Chatton, give me the exact timing cues as this weekend. Not only do we have Thanksgiving, but we are in war games. So, really, really excited for some great wrestling action around the horn this entire week. And folks, speaking of lists, real quick, I'm gonna just go back to list. Go back and listen to my interview with one Kirsten Ashley from Pro Wrestling Illustrated. We talked for about an hour and change about how those lists, the 500 list comes out and the 250 list for Pro Wrestling Illustrated, the men's 500 and the women's 250, basically just how all those lists do come out and how they're brought about. A little behind the scenes look at what goes on in the war room that is Pro Wrestling Illustrated. It was really one of the most fun chats I've ever had. I talked to her a few minutes beforehand. I said, "Yeah, we'll go about 45 minutes to an hour." And we were a little over an hour in. I'm like, I could chat with her forever talking about pro wrestling. So we will have her back on the show, and again, give that show a listen and let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think. So, folks, let's get into these two shows. We're going to start off on the show on the 23rd of November. So, again, what we're going to do is I'm just going to read through the notes, the quick results. I'm going to go over the standings after that show, and then I'm going to go back over and break down the psychology and everything of the matches, how I normally do. But again, I know we have a lot of new listeners. So, hello and welcome to the Stardom Cast. So, folks, here we go. The show from the 23rd of November. Natsupoi, Ayase and Sori Ando will return to action after missing these shows due to participation in the Chihiro Hashimoto 10th anniversary show. And then obviously Sori Ando was at the Oz Academy show in Okinawa. So they will not be at the show. Suzu Suzuki and Emma Mayashima both remain absent from this weekend shows due to poor physical health. Emma has been advertised for the show, but she was not on any of these shows this weekend. Suzu Suzuki did return at the show back on Monday, the 24th. Already eliminated with a big goose egg, Reckless Fantasy. Reckless Fantasy, unfortunately, are eliminated. Boy, howdy, they had a really great match with Story Boy, which we will get into in just a moment or two. And if folks, if you do remember, it was announced at the start of this Gotta Stardom Tag League that the top three teams from each block will go into the playoffs. Whoever the number one seed is, they will have a bye on the 29th. And then the winners of the 2 seed and 3 seed will then take on the 1 seed. So if the 2 or 3 seed want to advance, they have to win twice in one day. So it's important to finish with the most points in the block so you get that bye. So again, semifinals, quarterfinals and semifinals will be on the 29th. And then on the 30th, this Saturday, will be the overall finals for the Goddesses Stardom Tag League. So, folks, let's get into this one, shall we? Attendance notes. And again, thanks to my main man, Rob Goodwin, for handing me all these notes. The reported attendance in the Big Palate in Fukushima was 536. This is a 39.58 increase. I'm going to round up and say 40% increase on the company's last house show at the venue, which was 384 people for night 3 of this year's 5-star Grand Prix. Wow, that's something. And it's the highest attendance they've drawn since the 668 that they drew to night 2 of the 2022 Goddesses Stardom Tag League, making this the second highest attendance that Stardom has brought to this venue in the 8 times that they ran it. So think about it, folks. The 5-star Grand Prix, which was great, and it's their big tournament of the year, they drew 40% more people to this show than they did the 5-star Grand Prix. So it goes to show you how hot tag team wrestling is in Stardom and how hot the product is post 5, even pre 5-star Grand Prix, but post 5-star Grand Prix. I know a lot of people were really worried with no Mayu, no Mina, no Tekla, no Tam, Mike and Shiri out with injuries, Suzuki and Kagama doing worldwide FWC. So obviously the 5-star Grand Prix was critically acclaimed. It was fantastic. They did really well drawing, especially the last 5 or 6 shows. But it just goes to show you that this company 40% over night 3 of the 5-star Grand Prix on a random, not a random, but like kind of in the middle, Goddess of Stardom Tag League. So how about that? Folks, let's get into the quick results, and then I'm going to go back and kind of dive down and break everything down. Quick results are as follows. 6-woman tag team action. The Cosmic Angels trio of Aya Sakura, Sayaka Kurora, and Yuna Mizumori defeating Neo Genesis of Azumi, Biyu Amasaki, and Mei Sarah when Yuna Mizumori once again pins the current high-speed champion Mei Sarah with the Supergirl at 8 minutes and 36 seconds. Something is afoot there. Tag team action comes up on match number 2 as a makeshift team of Hanako and Momokogo defeating Kikyo Furusawa and Sai Kamatani when Hanako hits the brainbuster onto Kikyo Furusawa, picking up the win for the future Stardom champion, 8 minutes and 28 seconds. Our first block action match of the evening sees Dos Locos de Mexico, may or may not be FWC, defeating the team of Hina and Rani Yagami when it is Hazuki, I'm just going to call it Hazuki, hits basically a body side cradle hold at 8 minutes and 49 seconds. We go to the Blue Stars block as Sai Eden, B. Priestley defeat Konami and Rena when B. Priestley gets her win back from the 5-star Grand Prix playoff, pinning Rena in the middle of the ring with the Plan B at 11 minutes and 37 seconds. Our next block action, we go to the Red Goddess block as Akira Kurigami and Bozilla pick up a big upset, defeating BMI 2000 when Bozilla absolutely destroys Natsukatora with the drill hole pile driver in 10 minutes exactly. Maybe a future Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Championship is at foot for Bozilla and Akira. That match was great, especially the stuff with Bozilla and Tora. Again, I'm going to get into that in a moment. We go to our semifinal match of the evening. This was great. Soripoi, Soriano, and Natsupoi defeating Reckless Fantasy of Waka and Rian when it is Natsupoi pinning Rian with the Pharaoh gift at 10 minutes and 32 seconds. Main event of the evening, and this was great as well, as the Tokyo Towers of Ami Sori and Lady C defeat Anakan, which is Shiri and Saki Kashima, when Ami Sori hits not one but two like a thunderbolts on the IWGP champion Shiri, 12 minutes and 54 seconds. Great match. Great exchanges with Ami Sori and Sherry. Maybe that's somewhere we go. A big singles match, maybe heading into the new year. We shall see. We shall see. So again, folks, I'm going to go over the results here, and then I'm going to go back and go over the block standings after this show, and then I'll do it for the next show, and then I'll kind of break down where I think everything may or may not be going. Because again, this is really out in the open, and I'm really excited for it. So again, folks, we start with match numero uno, and I say it all the time. I'm going to say it again. You want to start your shows off with a hot opener, and boy, howdy did we have a hot opener as Cosmic Angels, Aya, Sayaka Kurora, and Yuna Mizumori taking on the Neo Genesis trio of Azumi, Mei Sarah, and Miyu Amasaki. We get really great chain wrestling start with Miyu Amasaki and Sayaka Kurora. And then after that, Neo Genesis, they pick up the pace with that classic high-speed, high-paced style offense on Mei Sarah, or from Mei Sarah onto Sayaka Kurora, excuse me. Mei Sarah, there's my next note, hits about 8 corner drop kicks onto Sayaka Kurora. Folks, let me tell you, I'd rather be the one in the corner taking them than being Mei Sarah and having going up and down, up and down, up and down. Mei Sarah's gas tank is unlimited. That takes a lot out of you. But that was really, really great. Azumi comes in and she just lays the hammer down on poor Sayaka Kurora. As if Mei Sarah hasn't done enough, Azumi with a stiff snap kick onto Sayaka Kurora, and then locks in an armbar onto Sayaka. We do see then stereo dueling dropkicks from O2 line onto Sayaka Kurora and Aya Sakura. Let's run that match a few times. O2 line versus Aya and Sayaka. I thought that was really great stuff. Mei Sarah does the one jump, one leap Joshi dropkick for a 2 count onto Sayaka Kurora. Eventually, we get the hot tag to Yuna Mizumori, and Yuna lays the hammer down. shoulder tackles and lariats for everybody in Cosmic Angels. We get some really great high speed stuff with her and May Sarah. Again, Maysair and Yuna are a tag team in this tournament, but we are planting the seeds for a big Yuna versus Maysair high speed championship match somewhere down the line. Somewhere down the line. And I love Maysair, but it's time to graduate her from the high speed division, move her up the card. It's time for Yuna to win a big singles championship because she's fantastic. Eventually, Yuna's her momentum gets stopped with the Neo Genesis six boots in the corner to Yuna. That opens up the door for Miyu Hamasaki, hit a beautiful pop-up DDT, scoring Miyu a 2 count. We get Azumi and Mei Sarah with a super kick sandwich onto Yuna, and then Mei Sarah hits a huge running dropkick onto Yuna Mizumori, follows it up with a fisherman suplex. Kind of a new move from Mei Sarah. Beautifully done there. May goes to put away Yuna with the checkmate. However, Yuna knows that move all too often. Yuna blocks the checkmate, hits a huge lariat onto May. We get some back and forth, 2 counts between Yuna and May. Yuna eventually rolls through a German suplex attempt from May Sarah and then rolls back May Sarah into the Superwoman, getting the 3 count. I had this one at 4 stars. This was great. Went less than 9 minutes. I wish it would have went 13, 14, 15, but this was really terrific. Great tag team work, great high speed work, great singles work with a really great mini match with May and Yuna. You didn't know which way it was going to go, but Yuna pinning May Sarah, statement win on a show here that had a lot of eyes on it. Again, I think they got to pull that trigger, and I still think it has to happen in Korakuen Hall. Like, I think it would be great for Yuna to win that belt. If they do it at Dream Queendom, in front of I think like 5,000 tickets, right around there, are going to be sold. I think that'd be huge, but I think you get a bigger reaction in front of like 13, 1,400 people in Korakuen Hall because Korakuen, they love us some Yuna Mizumori. Because as I always say, who lives in a pineapple under Korakuen Hall, Yuna Mizumori. And shout out to my main man, Frohausen, for a lot of different reasons, but he sent over some really cool artwork of Yuna Mizumori standing in front of the SpongeBob SquareHouse pineapple under the sea, which properly popped me. So thank you for that, my friend. That was genius. That was genius. Match number 2, Momokogo and Hanako taking on Sai Kamatani and Kikyo Furusawa. We get Momo and Kikyo starting with some arm drag exchanges. We get some great stuff. We've seen this quite a bit over these quote-unquote house shows. Sai Kamatani and Momokogo have really great chemistry. I know they're not going to build Momokogo up for a World of Stardom championship. But can you imagine like if Momokogo wins the Cinderella tournament? I think that'd be a huge pop. And then we get Momokogo versus Saya Kamatani for if Sai is still red belt champion, if that's what Momo wants to do. I think that would be huge because I don't know who they're priming up to win the Cinderella next year. I mean, obviously, we are like 4 or 5 months away, but I wouldn't say no to having Momo Kogo, who the people just absolutely love, and they're heartbroken that she's not in this tournament. How cool would it be if Momo Kogo wins the Cinderella tournament and then her and Saya Kamatani absolutely tear down Korakuen Hall? We saw Saya and Sayaka Kurora earlier this year have a great match, literally the point where there was a couple near falls that the people in Korakuen Hall bit on Kamatani losing the belt to Sayaka Kurora. Like, let's build up belief in Momokogo. Let's do it. I'm all for Momokogo versus Sai Kamatani. Why not? That'd just be huge for Momokogo, and the people love her, and just be another feather in the cap of Sai Kamatani of getting somebody in the mid card, getting them over into the main event. Because Sai and Momo had great chemistry here. Sai is bumping all over the place for Momokogo stuff. Eventually, though, it comes down to Hanako and Kikyo. There's too much power. Hanako hitting that version of the Brainbuster for the 3 count, 3.25 stars. Folks, we go to Red Stars Black. Rina and Rana Yagami representing Stars taking on DML or maybe FWC. This was a really fun match. I just didn't think it had enough time to really tell their stories. We had Kagama and Rana, quick covers to start. Eventually, we do see that lucha style offense that FWC or DML are really taking place here, which I thought was great. We get the flapjack to Rana Yagami. And then DML, easy for me to say, locks both Rina and Rana into the Paradise Lock, which I thought was funny. FWC cut off the ring onto Rana, and eventually Rana, she fires up. She hits a huge penalty kick to Kagama. That opens up the door for Rana to make the hot tag to Rina. Rina with all these great judo throws. I mentioned it last week. I'm going to mention it again. I'm loving this tag team of Rina and Rana. If they don't have plans for Rena and Rana as singles, make them be a tag team. Yeah, make them. Let them discontinue to be a tag team. Maybe they win the New Blood Championships. Rena and Rana versus Aya and Sayaka, that'd be fantastic. And then maybe Rena and Rana in a V1 or V2 versus Moonlight Fantasy, or Reckless Fantasy, excuse me, Rion and Waka. That'd be great. Or have them run all the way up the card. Maybe challenge for the goddess belts as well. I think Rena and Ron are great. They have these two sequences. I'm going to talk about it here. I'm going to talk about it again, where Hina does the, or I keep calling her Rena. Sorry, Hina. Excuse me, Hina and Rana. Hina and Rana. I should know a little bit better. Excuse me. So Hina, apologies, folks. Excited. Hina and Rana. So Hina does this. Hina comes in. She does all the judo throws to stop the offense that is FWC or DMLL. They do this sequence. By they, I mean Hina and Rana, where Hina does the judo throw and then Rana comes off with a penalty kick. And then they back that up where Rana goes for an STO and Hina does a running neck breaker. So I like how they do the two tag team moves back to back. So it's like boom, oh big move, boom, another big move, and then we get some single falls between Hina and Rana. Thoroughly enjoyed that. We're really starting to build this matchup, and then out of nowhere, Hazuki hits us like almost like crucifix pin, but instead of around the arms, it's almost around the body, which I thought was really, really cool. Getting the 3 count. I had this match at 3.5 stars. Hina and Rana stay at 4 points, and DML, they moved to 7. They moved to 7 or and at one of the top spots to make the playoffs here in Red Stars. So really good match. I just wish it got a little bit more time. Folks, we go to Blue Goddess Action. Saida and B Breezy taking on Konami and Rena. Both these teams sitting at 6 points. So this is a must win for both these teams because not only will the winning team then move up to 8, but then they do own the tiebreaker on the other team. So it's kind of almost a double whammy. So this is a really important match. Reen and Konami, they get the jump on B and Saida. They do a really great job building up to what we think we might be getting on the way to Sumo Hall as far as a future Wonder Stardom Championship match with Saida and Konami, because there was some really great stuff there between the two. Sai with the machine gun chops onto Konami. She hits a big lariat, and then Konami, excuse me, not by she, I mean Saida hits a big lariat. Saida goes for the sliding lariat onto Konami. This was great. Saida counters the sliding lariat into a Fujiwara armbar. Absolutely love that. Saida tries to go to the ropes, but when she does, Konami's a heel, so she's going to bend and break the rules a little. Konami then goes for the hanging armbar onto Saya, which I thought that was great. Konami hits a head kick. Saya fires back with a huge lariat. We do see B Priestley. She gets the hot tag. She comes in. B triggers and forearms to all. B was great here. Her stuff with Konami was terrific. And obviously, they go ways back to 2018 and 2019 in Stardom. Obviously, they had some great matches together. And they were actually tag team together as well when they were both part of a Wedo tie. So really great stuff there. Rena comes in and she hits the double diving knee bomb onto B Priestley, and then she follows it up with a hydrangea bomb that scores Rena a 2 count. Saida, she comes in, she hits a huge lariat onto Konami, and then B hits a super kick onto Rena. We get some back and forth, great strike exchanges between Rena and B Priestley. Rena then covers B with the or catches B in the jackknife for a 2 count. Remember, very similar to how she beat her in Cork and Hall, sending Rena into the semifinals. So really great callback there. We do see Saida and B Priestley. They've been doing this a lot. A wheelbarrow DDT to Rena. We see Saida take out Konami. That opens up the door for B to hit Rena with her version of the Blue Thunder Bomb, also known as the Plan B, for a 3 count. I had this match at 4 stars. Really, really great match. B and Saya moving up to 8 points. Konami and Rena staying at 6. Match number 5, Red Goddess action, as we have Akira Kirigami and Bozil in a must-win situation. They are coming in at 2 points. They are taking on the champs, Ruaka and Natsuko Tora, BMI 2000, coming in with 6 points. Bozilla takes matters in her own hands early on, just overpowers Ruaka. By the way, shouts out to Ruaka. Not only has she been crushing it the last 7 or 8 months, new gear, new hair, looks like $1,000,000. She looks terrific. Again, really great statement from Stardom and Ruaka as we're pushing Ruaka up the card. Again, having great matches, getting majority of the wins here for I think all the wins actually, which I think Rob pointed out for BMI 2000 in this tournament. Um, we do see eventually Bozilla tags into Akira. She's like, all right, I did the heavy lifting early on. I soften up the champs. You get in there. And as soon as Akira gets in there, she gets double teamed by BMI 2000. Do see some heat onto Akira. Eventually, we do see a hot tag into Bozilla. Bozilla, she comes in, House of Fire. However, great teamwork from BMI 2000 using basically their tag team work to break down the mighty Bozilla. We get the corner splash and cannonball combination onto the big German powerhouse. Thoroughly like that. We do see Tora hitting a freezer bomb onto Bozilla. That scores BMI 2000 a 2 count. Tora and then Bozilla, forearm fest, lariat off between the two. Really great stuff there. Bozilla really starts taking it to the former World of Stardom champion. Ruaka comes in for the save, double suplex onto Bozilla. This was really great because the only way that BMI 2000 can get the advantage on Bozilla and Akira, but mostly Bozilla, is by doing teamwork. And it makes sense because they're the tag team champions and they're heels and they're kind of bending the rules a little bit. But these segments we had with Tora and Bozilla were great. Really great stuff. Bozilla's done a great job setting herself up for a lot of great stuff in the future. Obviously, this stuff we're getting with her and Akira is really entertaining. Don't know where they're going. We do have great stuff here with Bozilla and Tora. And last week we did get, or 2 weeks ago, we got Bozilla and Megan Bain. They teased some big things. And then that same week, we got some really great exchanges with Bozilla and Benny from the last chapter of Surrealism. So a lot of great stuff set up for Bozilla. All depends on when they want to pull the trigger on said great segments. Bozilla slams Akira onto Natsuko Tora. That pretty much takes out Tora for the match. Bozilla hits a Rainmaker onto, Bozilla slams Akira onto Ruaka. That takes out Ruaka for the match. Bozilla then hits a huge Rainmaker onto Natsuko Tora and then finishes off the former World of Stardom champion with the Drill a Hole Pile Driver. Another great match. This whole show was fantastic. Great match. 4 stars for me, and Bozilla getting a clean pinfall win over the tag champs here. So do we see Bozilla and Akira challenge BMI 2000 coming off this tournament? Maybe. Maybe if Tora and Ruaka don't make it to the finals. Is that a championship match? Maybe we see on Saturday. Akira wants to prove herself. Maybe that's the way we go. Maybe on Saturday, Bozilla gets a shot. Bozilla and Akira, they get a shot at the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. Folks, we shall see in a few days' time. Folks, we stay in Red Goddess action. Waka and Rion, 0 points, taking on Soriano Natsupoi, undefeated, 6 points going into this match. We'd have Waka and Rion. They start out red hot, pun intended, with the double hip attack onto Natsupoi. Then we get some really funny stuff where Rion is stomping on Natsupoi's foot, and then Daichi saying, "Hey, you can't do that because Natsupoi's in the ropes." And then Rion stomps the foot of Daichi. To be disqualification, you can't put your hands or feet on the official. Eventually, Rion does apologize, and we get this really, really funny segment, which I thoroughly enjoyed. We get some great double teams back and forth, not only from Soripoi, which, as far as match quality goes, they may be the best tag team in the history of Stardom. Like, you look at the great stuff we've had with Aphrodite, obviously FWC you have to put up there, Thunder Rock, but just the amount of great stuff we've gotten over the last 3 years and change, it's really next level. And it's a conversation that after this tournament, I know myself, Rob, and we obviously, you, the listeners, we want to get you involved. As far as match quality goes, is there a better team in the history of Stardom than Soripoi? I mean, this is really great stuff. But again, not only great stuff from Soripoi on teamwork, but Waka and Rion were really finding their footing. They were great last year. They're better this year as a tag team. Really great stuff here. Rihanna actually wins the forearm exchange against the former Wonder of Stardom champion and one Natsupoi, and it's a beautiful fisherman suplex. Really seems like everybody in this company must do a fisherman suplex. Kind of like when I first got into ECW in 95 and 96. I'm like, everybody does a DDT. Sandman does a DDT. Raven does a DDT. Tommy Dreamer does a DDT. Terry Funk does a DDT. I think that's what it is within Stardom. Like, you must do a fisherman suplex. Not complaining because they all look great. They all have different ways of getting into it. So Rion, really great fisherman suplex, almost putting away one Natsupoi. Rion then follows that fisherman suplex up with a high cross body, but Natsupoi rolls through with the Fujiwara armbar. More great Soripoi teamwork. That leads to the Cosmic Angels trademark axe kick to Rion. And then we have Waka. She comes in to make the save, but Waka and Rion, they go headfirst into each other. And then we get the stereo Soripoi German suplexes. Natsupoi hits a huge super pick, but Rion, she rebounds with a roll up and a backslide into the jackknife, scoring Rion a 2.9 count. And the way that Natsupoi sold that, the way that Rion was able to roll her up not once but twice, and then using the roll up into that jackknife, the way that Natsupoi sold it, everybody in this building bit on the finish. They thought we were going to see a big upset here. And that's what's great about these tournaments. You never know we're going to see an upset coming. We almost got one here. Thoroughly enjoy that. We get the brand new Soripoi teamwork move of the Fisherman suplex combination onto Rion that opens up the door for Natsupoi to go to the top rope and hit the Ferial Gift, putting away Stone Cold Rion. Fortunately, Waka and Rion stay at 0. Soripoi move to 8 points, 4.25 stars for me. My favorite match of this show. But this main event we're going to talk about really, really came close because this main event was great. Folks, main event, we switch over to Blue Stars Goddess action. It is an all God's Eye affair as Amisori and Lady C coming in with 2 points, taking on Shuri and Saki Kashima. Shuri and Saki coming in at 6. We do see that Lady C, she does try to shake Saki Kashima's hand. Saki Kashima says, okay, I'll shake her hand. And then she tries to get the big boot. Or, excuse me, Lady C tries to pull Saki Kashima in for the choke slam. Saki Kashima is a little bit too crafty for that. She escapes the choke slam, rolls up Lady C in the Kishi Kasai. And a lot of people thought that was going to be the finish because the way Stardom fans are conditioned, Kishi Kasai can happen 8 seconds in, 8 minutes in, or 18 minutes in. You never know when it's going to hit. The most devastating finisher in all of wrestling, folks. Um, Eventually, Yami Sori, she comes in. We have some great teamwork to Saki Kashima. Shuri comes in for the save. She gets tagged in. Big forearm, the big running knee, and the half couch suplex on the Ami Sori. That scores Shuri a 2 count. Lady C comes in for the save with the stunner running boot combination, which I absolutely love. Great stuff there. And then we see the patented Lady C double ab stretch to both Shuri and Saki Kashima. Thoroughly enjoy that. We do see Lady C hit a big boot onto Shuri. Shuri's able to come back, fire up with the forearms and kicks onto one Lady C. We do see that Lady C tags out. Amisori comes in, and we get a tackle off between Lady C and Shuri, Amisori and Shuri, which Amisori gets the better of. Amisori then hits a beautiful Harley Race style stalling suplex onto Shuri. That scores Ami a 2 count. We get a little bit of a reset here in the middle of this great main event match. By reset, I mean Ami and Shuri in the middle of the ring throwing bombs. Great form exchange between the two. If you do remember, Shuri, when she first created God's Eye, that she recruited Ami Sori as basically was her bodyguard. So it's really cool that you're literally in the middle of this match, you're going to the ground roots origin story of God's Eye back in 2022. So I really like this. Shuri recruiting Ami Sori coming back from injury and absolutely just waylaying on Shuri in this match. A really cool kind of origin story of God's Eye in the middle of this match, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Shuri hits a German suplex on the Amisori, but Amisori has the fighting spirit of Antonio Inoki in her. She fires up with that fighting spirit, hits a blue thunder bomb onto Shuri for a 2 count. Amisori then, after we get some great double team work from both Shuri and Amisori onto Shuri and Saki Kashima, that opens up the door for Ami to hit like a thunderbolt onto Shuri, which I thought that was it. However, Shuri kicks out of like a thunderbolt. And Stardom's done a great job protecting that finish. Not a lot of people kicked out of it. I think Tora, I'm almost positive Kamatani did when Kamatani and Ami had their Wonder of Stardom Championship match back in early 23. So Shuri kicking out of like a thunderbolt. I thought that was something. Shuri fires back up, hits a forearm, hits a huge head kick onto Ami Sori. And Ami Sori looks like this might be a knockout win for Shuri. Lady C comes in helping out her partner because that's what great tag team wrestlers do. Hits the running boot onto Shuri. Amisori is able to shake the cobwebs out from that violent head kick that Shuri just hit on her and takes advantage of the big boot damage done from her partner onto Shuri. Hits like a thunderbolt, pinning Shuri in the middle of the ring. I like this match almost as much as I like the last match. Ami Sourei getting a win over Shuri. 4.25 stars. Shuri and Saki Kashima stay at 6 points. Ami and Lady C, they stay alive in this tournament. They move up to 4. And again, folks, this was a great show. You started off with a great six-person tag match with Cosmic Angels versus Neo Genesis. You have Bozil and Tora absolutely tearing down the house. And then you finish with B. Priestley and Saida. Really great match with Konami and Rena. And then you finish with Soripoi versus Reckless Fantasy. And then this hard-hitting match. They really showcased the great teamwork of Ami Sourei and Lady C. Like, obviously, the main thing for me and the best bits of this match were just the one-on-one stuff with Ami and Shuri, but the teamwork. Then anytime that Lady C got in trouble, which was no offense to Saki Kachima, whenever she got in trouble when she's getting beat up by Shuri, here comes Ami Sourei, and then vice versa. And I love it how the finish is like a thunderbolt. Shuri kicks out, Shuri fires back up, hits that big head kick onto Ami Sourei. Lady C comes in, big running boot, opens up the door for a second like a thunderbolt. I really enjoyed that finish. Great teamwork from Ami and Lady C. And again, I think somewhere in 2026, I think Ami Sourei and Lady C should win the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Championships because they're really, really gelling well together. They both had a great showing in the 5-star Grand Prix, especially Ami Sourei. Ami Sourei has this completely different aura about her, completely different aura. And Stardom is in the process of making new stars. Again, with all of these great wrestlers leaving over the last year and a half, the Utamis, the Julias, the Mirais, the Mayus, the Minas. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. They're doing a great job of building up Starlight Kid, repackaging Momo Watanabe, Azumi. Obviously, he's a main eventer. May Sarah is not that far off. And neither is Ami Sourei. You know, she in this tournament, regardless of what else happens in this tournament for the Tokyo Towers, Ami Sourei has a clean pin over Kunami, the new Wonder of Stardom champion, and a clean pin over Shuri, former two-time and current IWGP Joshi champion and one of the greatest World of Stardom champions in the history of this company and one of the best wrestlers on planet Earth. So I think big things are at foot for one Ami Sourei. Folks, we're going to move to show number 9 here, the show that happened just this past Monday. And let me scroll through my phone to get my fantastic notes from the fantastic one. Mr. Robert Goodwin, Suzu Suzuki returns to action. First show back here for Stardom. She missed a few days due to illness. Going into the show, here is who is eliminated. Reckless Fantasy and Hina and Ranigami. Again, eliminated from this tournament, won't make the playoffs. You got to give credit for the match quality. Reckless Fantasy's been great. And Hina and Ran are somebody that when we do our end of the tournament awards sometime next week, they may be my breakout team of the tournament because they are absolutely, they've had some great matches. Really, really fun stuff. Folks, the attendance in Iwate City General Gymnasium, 437 people. This is the first time Stardom have run the venue in the company's almost 15-year history. So, again, good on them. Really, really great show. Really cool venue. Hopefully, they run here a little bit more. Quick results are as follows. We open 6-woman tag team action as the Hate Trio of Sai Kamatani, Rinugami, and Sai Kamatani, Rina, and Konami, defeating DML and Kikyo Furusawa when Konami pins Kikyo Furusawa with a buzzsaw kick in 19 minutes and 16 seconds. Tag team action here as this was a funny match and a fun match. Waka and Ryan defeating a makeshift team of Saki Kashima and Momokogo when it is Waka pinning Momokogo with the Osui suplex in 4 minutes and 45 seconds, or as I call it, the Waka slide. For you Marufuji fans, it's the same thing as the Marufuji slide. I just call it the Waka slide, and it's fun to say. Waka slide. I have a feeling someone's going to send me some artwork of Waka going down a slide. I have a feeling that's coming in my future, and I'm all for it. Bring it, folks. We go to match number 3, or as we say in Scranton, Tree. Match number 3 is the first match in the Goddess of Stardom Tag League 4 this evening as Hina and Rani Yagami move to 6 points, defeating Akira Kurigami and Bozilla when it is some great teamwork that opens up the door for Rana to hit the beat strike, pinning Akira at 9 minutes and 44 seconds. Next match, boy howdy, another great match as the tag team champions here are the We stay in the Red Stars block as the tag team champions of BMI 2000 move to 8 points, defeating Soripoi when it is Ruaka pinning Soriano after some shenanigans, but the straightjacket German suplex puts away Soriano 12 minutes and 10 seconds. You might be saying Soriano eating an L before her big match with Sai Kamatani. I will talk about the post-match angle that they did afterwards. This was great. BMI 2000 been really good the last 2 years or so. Obviously, they're the tag champions here. In my opinion, this is the best BMI 2000 match that I have ever seen. This was great. We go to our next match as the Mega Skyscrapers of Hanako and Megan Bain defeat O2 Line when it is Megan Bain pinning Miyu Amasaki after their version of the Doomsday device known as Skyfall. If you're a James Bond fan, I bet you're really popping for that. 6 minutes and 59 seconds. I'm going to get into it. Really good match. 7 minutes. Wish it was a little bit longer. But at the same time, I think they said Megan Bain landed 4 hours before this show started. Something crazy like that. So you can be forgiven if this match isn't going 15 minutes, but really good for what we got. We go to semifinals. We go with the rival Tokyo Towers getting another win. They defeat Suzuki and Rina Yamashita, a wild match, ending in a countout. Got no problem with that. Countouts rule as the Tokyo Towers move to 6 points. Suzu and Rina stay on 0. Obviously, they did lose a few matches via forfeit when Suzu missed a few shows due to her illness. We go to the main event. New Blood Tag Team Champions of Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurora defeating Saida and B. Priestley when it is Sayaka Kurora rolling up B. Priestley as what they're calling the Prism Capture as Sayaka and Aya stay alive with 6 points. That match was, of course, in the Blue Goddess Tag League. Folks, let's get into this one, shall we? So we open up with Kikyo Furusawa teaming with may or may not be FWC, taking on Sai Kamatani, Rina, and Kunami. A whole lot of championships for Team Hate here. You have Kamatani, the current New Japan Strong Champion, the current World of Stardom Red Belt champion, teaming with Kunami, the current two-thirds of the Artist of Stardom champion, the current Wonder of Stardom champion, teaming with Rina, the current two-thirds with Fukian Death, Artist of Stardom champion, and the breakout star for the 2025 5-Star Grand Prix. And again, taking on the rookie Kikyo Furusawa in DML. We get some great wrestling with Rina and Kikyo. We do see on these quote unquote house shows where they'll put these rookies in singles matches. Give me a 9 to 10 minute Kikyo versus Rina match or put it on a New Blood. Really great technical wrestling between the two. Doesn't take too long though before Sai Kamatani says, enough of this. Let's have a wild brawl. So we have a wild brawl. Not too crazy because there was a few matches that really kind of went out of the crowd. A little bit of a wild brawl, just a little bit of a teaser. Back in the ring we go. Great teamwork from DML to Sai Kamatani. Great stuff with Sai Kamatani and the person that may or may not be Hazuki. And obviously, again, folks, if you know your Stardom history, if you haven't seen this match in a while or haven't seen it at all, go back and watch Sai Kamatani versus Hazuki from the finals of the Triangle Derby. I believe the date is March 1st, 2023. I know it's March of 2023. Just go on Stardom World, just go to the Wonder part. In my opinion, it's the greatest Wonder Stardom Championship match of all time. If they're going to pad out this Sai Kamatani run where she's going to beat the EO V14, and I know right now she's about halfway there, we need matches for the spring and summer of 2026. Give me a Hazuki versus Sai Kamatani. Let's run that back for the red belt. Really great stuff here. And again, I know it's a little bit different version of Hazuki. This is Lucha Hazuki, but I thought this was great. We get the FWC double 619 to Konami, which I thought that was great. That opens up the door for Kikyo Furusawa to lock Konami in an ankle lock. So a really great visual having rookie Kikyo Furusawa almost submitting the current Wonder of Stardom champion. So again, really cool visual there. Eventually, though, Sai Kamatani, she comes in, cleans house. We get the dropkick German suplex combination onto one Kikyo Furusawa, Rina, and then Sai Kamatani basically block out DML. That opens up the door for Konami to hit Kikyo with the buzzsaw kick, scoring a 3 count, 3.5 stars. Another really, really great opener to start this show. Match number 2, which is mostly kind of a comedy match, Walkin' Rion versus Saki Kashima and Momo Kogo. Saki Kashima pushes Momo Kogo into harm's way, so he gets some great stuff, fun stuff back and forth. Momokogo then fires off on both Rion and Waka. It's almost like a handicap match here for like a couple seconds. And then Saki comes in. She tries to steal Momokogo's thunder. Eventually, we get some, it's just basically really great teamwork from Waka and Rion. Again, really polishing their tag team work. We know this isn't a match in the Goddess tournament. We know that they're eliminated, but some really great stuff with Waka and Rion. Saki Kashima accidentally boots Momokogo. That opens up the door for Waka. Did the double underhook chicken wing pin, which I guess would be the technical term. I call it the Waka slide. 3.25 stars. I just wish this got a little bit more time, but I was thoroughly entertained from what I saw on my screen. Folks, we will go to the red stars in just a second. I need a little bit of a drink here as I've been talking for 45 minutes all by myself. All right, folks, here we go. Match number 3, Ron Yagami and Hina taking on Bozilla and Akira Kuragami. This was really, really great stuff here. Again, Hina and Rana just really work so well together. Hina and Rana, they trade headlock. Hina and Akira trade headlocks to start off the match. We get some great teamwork onto Akira from the God's Eye duo of Rana and Hina. Eventually, Bozilla sees enough. She comes in, absolutely dominates both Rana and Hina, especially Hina. Hina tries to fire back. She tries the judo throw. Bozilla, her facials when people try to do things to her are so funny. Like she's so great at everything that she does. She understands how to work her style, and you can't be helped just by entertain. Like it's one thing to be great in the ring, but not have really good facial expressions on certain things. Her reaction and timing, and she's funny. Like, I don't know if she knows how funny she is. She's funny when she's being so dominant. Like, she's so darn entertaining. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Bozilla dominates Hina. Bozilla goes for the Vader bomb. However, Hina gets out of the way, tags in Rana. Rana comes in and she just hits these wicked kicks onto Bozilla. And Bozilla, she starts to break down Bozilla, and Bozilla's psychology of selling is so good here. Really enjoyed that. Eventually, Bozilla has to tag out. Akira comes in. Akira and Rana, they trade some kicks. Again, Akira's really great at the striking. Thoroughly enjoyed that. We get the Hina and Rana judo throw into the penalty kick, and then the STO running neckbreaker combination. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Bozilla tries to come in to save her partner, but both Bozilla and Hina low bridge Bozilla. Bozilla goes over the top rope. This was the Royal Rumble. Ron and Hina will be going to WrestleMania. However, this is the Goddess of Stardom tournament. They will not be going to WrestleMania, but they'll be going to the pay window as they get 2 points when it is Hina hitting the big ending and Rana hitting the beat strike, scoring a 3 count, 3.5 stars. Really fun match. But again, it's the teamwork and the double team moves that we're seeing over and over in a great way from Hina and Rana. Again, maybe my breakout team of this tournament. I'm really enjoying them. And then there was a backstage segment where Bozilla just keeps calling Akira a loser. You're a loser. So we'll see where that plays in. Again, there's a lot of really interesting things that we have set up for Bozilla. Do we see the Megan Bain match? Do we see something with her and Tora? Do we see Akira and Bozilla getting a title shot on BMI 2000? Do we get that rematch that we saw at Joey Janela's Spring Break with Bozilla versus Megan Bain? My favorite match from that show. We shall see. A lot of interesting things in line for the big German powerhouse. Match number 4, folks. Soriano and Natsupoi. They're coming in at 8 points, taking on Tora and Ruaka. BMI 2000, the tag champs, coming in at 6 points. And again, obviously, I read the results. Tora and Ruaka getting the win. So they're tied with Natsupoi and Soriano at the top of the block, but technically, they have the tiebreaker. So there's a good possibility that Tora and Ruaka will be going into the playoffs as the champions and maybe the top seed. It's a possibility with the top seed, but this was great. BMI 2000, they get the jump. We get the wild brawl. Remember how I said before, only a little bit of a brawl and match number 1 because they need to save the crazy stuff for here. So again, you have your current tag champions in BMI 2000. You have the former tag champions in Soriano and Natsupoi as Soripoi. So a lot of great stuff here. Wild Brawl, Poi and Ano, they eat the chairs several times. We get back in the ring. Classic heel work from BMI 2000. They cut the ring off. They put some heat on Soriano. Soriano, great job selling. Natsupoi doing a great job firing up the crowd for Soriano to get some fighting spirit behind her. Eventually, Soriano, she hits the big missile dropkick on the Natsuka Tora. Natsupoi comes in with the hot tag. That's why they call it heat and the hot tag, folks. Natsupoi comes in on fire. Super kick to Tora, cartwheel arm drag onto Ruaka. That sets up Natsupoi for the double basement dropkick to BMI 2000. Ruaka rolls to the outside. Natsupoi does the cross arm breaker to Natsukatora. Thoroughly enjoy that. Ruaka breaks up the armbar attempt with the running senton onto Natsupoi. Natsupoi, she hits a super kick, and that opens up the door for Soriano to hit a fisherman suplex onto one Ruaka. Ruaka, she fires back up onto Soriano, excuse me, when after the super kick, Natsupoi tagged in Soriano. So Soriano hits the fisherman suplex onto Ruaka for a 2 count. Ruaka is able to come back with a sliding splash onto Soriano. That scores Ruaka a 2 count. Ruaka tries to build a little heat onto Soriano. She goes to go buckle to buckle onto Soriano, but Ano does the up and over. Look like we're going to get the Insiguri super kick combination from Soripoi onto Ruaka. Ruaka ducks that. Tora then takes out Natsupoi. That opens up the door for Ruaka to hit a beautiful fisherman suplex onto Soriano. That scores Ruaka a 2 count. Ruaka keeps the pressure on the current number one contender for the World of Stardom Championship as Ruaka locks a crossface on to Soriano. Eventually, Anu gets to the ropes. She fights off Ruaka. Soriano hits the missile dropkick, and that opens up the door for Natsupoi to the Pharaoh gift. We've seen this in this combination in a lot of big Soripoi matches where Soriano will hit the missile dropkick, the opponent will bump, and then they'll feed over to the other corner, and then Soriano, or Natsupoi, tries for the Pharaoh gift. Myself and Andy had to try this a time or two, and didn't look as good as Soriano and Natsupoi do it, but thoroughly like that. We do see Soriano and Natsupoi, they hit the stereo German suplexes onto both members of Hate. Eventually, though, we have the referee getting distracted. The Hate crate gets slipped in, and we see Ruaka hit not one, but two really wicked, especially the second one. Almost sabooed that Hate crate into Soriano's head. I was like, ooh boy. Ruaka follows it up with a big lariat, great bump and sell and feed from Soriano. Ruaka scoring a 2 count on Soriano there. We do see Ruaka goes to the top rope, going for the freezer bomb. However, Soriano stops Ruaka at the top rope. We get a top rope fight between Ruaka and Soriano. We do see these Soriano matches where she likes to hit this top rope Hurricanrana or Frankensteiner. So you think that's what's going to happen here. But Natsukatora, being a great tag team partner, stops the top rope Hurricanrana. She power bombs Soriano off the top rope. That opens up the door for Ruaka to hit the freezer bomb that she was trying a minute earlier. That scores BMI 2000 a 2 count because of the Natsupoi save. So thoroughly enjoy Natsupoi making the save for a tag partner there. We do see that Ruaka going for the German suplex. Soriano escapes the German suplex, rolls up Ruaka in the Potter ring. We get a 1, we get a 2, and we get the ref pulled. So I like how we have the visual of Soriano getting a pin over Ruaka. However, ref gets pulled. Everybody's booing because Hate is cheating, and we get more babyface sympathy on Soriano Natsupoi and more heel heat onto the tag champs, which is exactly what you want. We do get after the ref gets pulled, Soriano gets misted by one Natsukatora. That opens up the door for Rocket at a German suplex and a straight jacket German suplex combination onto Soriano. 4.5 stars. I love this. This is, if you're asking me my top 8 or 10 favorite matches from this tournament, I think like the top 7 or 8 are story point matches. Every single one of their matches has been must see, can't miss. This is great. Again, I think Walk and Rion probably had their best performances the day before. And I think this is BMI 2000's best match. They had a great match where they beat Wingori for the belts. They've been having really great matches in this tournament. They had great matches in the tournaments in years past. Folks, let me know. Do you think this is the best BMI 2000 match? I think it is. I think it is 4.5 stars. I thought this was great. I thoroughly enjoy this. Natsupoi and Soriano, they stay at 8 points. Ruak and Tora, they moved to 8 points. But technically, they are now in first place, which we'll go over the standings in a minute, because they have the tiebreaker victory over Soripoi. Blue Goddess action match number 5, as we have Megan Bain and Hanako coming in at 8 points, taking on Azumi and Miyu Amasaki. I was so sure this is going to be a win for O2 Line. We got to keep O2 Line alive in this tournament. Obviously, this didn't happen, folks. I'll just run through this real quick because again, we went about 7 minutes here. Wish we would have got 17. Megan Bain overpowers Azumi early on. She hits this beautiful bear hug into an overhead belly to belly suplex onto Azumi. We do see that Azumi and Miyu Amasaki, some great teamwork between the two. Thoroughly enjoyed that. We do see Azumi with that this new moves that she's been doing that she broke out the Goddess Tournament, where basically she gets whipped from one side of the ring to the other. She goes in between the second and third. She does a running penalty kick onto the opponent's tag team partner that's on the outside, and then she goes for this like slingshot through the bottom rope into a sunset flip. Like we've seen her hit it pretty much in every match of this tournament. But then what happens here is Hanako's way too big. Like Hanako's way too big. Like she's not going to go down for that. So she basically picks Azumi up. She goes to whip Azumi off the rope. Azumi ducks one. She ducks the lariat and hits the Lemistic on Hanako. It's like that's even cooler than what she's done before because she runs, penalty kick onto Megan Bain, and then she blocks a big suplex from Hanako and then hits the Lemistica onto Hanako, which the psychology of the Lemistic is you're using your opponent's size and strength against them to drive them down for the Lemistica into the armbar. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Again, Azumi, is there 5 wrestlers having better matches this year than Azumi? I know she's not winning these big matches. Obviously, her and Meteor eliminated here. Lost the Wonder match to Starlight Kid. Lost in the finals of the 5-star Grand Prix. Lost that red belt match in a sold-out Corkin Hall to Kamatani. I'm not talking about wins or losses, which they are important. But is there 5 wrestlers in wrestling better having better matches than Azumi? Like Kamatani, Kid, maybe Starlight Kid, maybe Bandito. Maybe. I mean, in my opinion, I think she's the second best wrestler in wrestling this year behind Kamatani. I mean, Azumi's absolutely crushing it. Anywho, back to this match we go. I love it how we do have Megan Bain just being so overpowering, but Megan Bain selling these DDTs from Miyu Amasaki. And again, we only got 7 minutes here. Miyu Amasaki, go back and watch this. Miyu Amasaki hits this pop up DDT. She sells it like RVD did back in the 90s, where it was like a straight pencil. Again, Megan Bain is very dominant in this match, and rightfully so. But like the way she sells this Miyu Amasaki DDT, I was like, wowzers. Like if Miyu pinned Megan Bain and got a 3 count, it would have been believable. It really would have been believable. Again, Megan Bain just on an absolute tear, doing great stuff in AEW, doing great stuff here back in Stardom, and the fact that she's doing going back and forth as often as she is, I mean, that's a lot of respect. It's a lot of, and again, folks, we're flying from the Northeast here to Japan. It's like a 14-hour flight. You literally lose a day, like between the 12-hour time zone difference and the 12-hour flight. That's a day. The fact that she's doing it, she's done it like 4 or 5 times already. Unbelievable. Eventually, though, we get the double German suplex from Megan Bain on the O2 line. And then we have basically everybody kind of hits a waterfall. We do have that Hanako takes out Azumi with the suplex, and then we get the Skyfall, basically their version of the Doomsday device, onto Miyu Amasaki. Megan Bain picking up the win. I had this at 3 3/4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I wish it went a little bit longer. However, Megan Bain and Hanako moving to 10 points. Azumi and Miyu Amasaki stay at 2, and I believe they are officially eliminated from this tournament, which kind of scratching my head because I really thought that Azumi and Miyu would get their big moment winning the Goddess belts at Dream Queendom, but I don't know what they're going to do. I'm not going to question Teru Okada's booking because clearly he's hitting a home run after a home run. Maybe we do see Azumi and Miyu in sort of some sort of tag match opposite Fuwichan because obviously that's a big spot for whoever is going to be in that match because that match is going to be one of the most watched matches that entire week, even including Tanahashi and Okada because Fuwichan is a big YouTube star. So maybe that's where they're going with him. That's the only thing that I can think of. That's the only thing I can think of because Azumi is absolutely having a great year. Miyu Amasaki's been on fire coming off the 5-star Grand Prix. So that's my only thing, folks. And let me know what you think is going to happen with Azumi during the Dream Queendom. I think they need to put her in a really big, prominent match. Semi-finals Blue Star action. Ami Soaring Lady C taking on the returning Suzuki teaming with one Rina Yamashita. This was great. We start off with a big forearm strike exchange to start, and I'm all for that. As much as I love myself the big lockup, which I do, when you have 4 great strikers starting a match off just back and forth, four-way forearm fest, absolutely love that. We decide that I guess Lady C and Rena are going to be legal here. after that. And Rena absolutely just drops Lady C with his forearm. And it was really great selling from Lady C. Lady C comes back with big boot, chops. Give me Lady C and Rena in a 10-minute match in KBS Hall or something. Thoroughly enjoyed that. I thought that was great. Rena and Ami, again, slugfest between Rena and Ami Sourei when Ami Sourei comes in for the save, and then we get a lariat off between the two. Again, Rina Yamashita is another wrestler that really, really opening up a lot of eyes in Stardom over the last few months. I know she's mostly been doing like freelance, but if I'm Stardom, I sign her down to either a full-time contract or where she's like the Soriano deal, where it's like, hey, we get top priority because I mean, Rina has been really, really great here. We get Suzu and Lady C with a form exchange between the two. Suzu wins that form exchange. However, Ami Sourei, very much like I mentioned, Ami and Lady C versus Shuri and Saki Kashima. Ami Sourei comes in for the save. We get great teamwork onto Suzu Suzuki, Lady C, and Ami hitting that beautiful, beautiful double flapjack to Suzu, scoring a 2 count. We get this really great exchange with Lady C and Suzu Suzuki. Again, Lady C, another one absolutely upped her stock tenfold this year. Great job in the 5-star Grand Prix. Had shots at the artist belts, shots at the goddess belts. I mean, really, I like how we're putting some stock into Lady C. Again, Lady C and Suzu Suzuki have a really great slugfest here. Lady C goes for the big boot. However, Suzu ducks that, hits this beautiful tequila shot onto Lady C. That scores Suzu a 2 count. Rina comes off with a top rope splash to help Suzu Suzuki out. Suzu looks like she's going to go for that double locomotion German suplex. Ami Sourei comes in, and all of a sudden, this match goes all haywire. All of a sudden, we got to fight up the rampway. Again, we've seen some stuff with the members of Hate having matches all over the venue, but this one went up the rampway, kind of went up the steps. Eventually, though, we have Lady C hitting a big boot on Rena, and then Lady C is like, hey, I'm free as a bird. I'm the only one that's not down. She runs in the ring at the 18 count. 2 seconds later, we get the 20 count, and we have a count-out victory. Count-outs rule. 3 3/4 stars. Great hard-hitting match between the two. Great to see Suzu Suzuki back. Again, I know I made mention this with Hina and Rana and Ami and Lady C. We don't have plans for Suzu Suzuki. Let's go with maybe a Suzu and Arena. Maybe them winning the goddess belts because they were fantastic here. Again, 3 3/4 stars. Suzu and Rina, I believe, are technically eliminated from this tournament at 0 points. Ami Sourei and Lady C, with just a few days left, stay alive, 2 in a row, 6 points for them. Oh, I failed to make mention. Let me hit the kind of the rewind button on the Soriano and Natsupoi versus the BMI 2000 match. So after the match where Anu got misted from Ruaka, because I did say I want to touch upon this. She did get misted from Ruaka. Sai Kamatani came out and they kind of had a little beef there where it was a really cool visual. The pictures are all over social media, but here's Anu all sweaty, beaten with the blue mist in her face, and Kamatani coming in laughing at her, holding the belt in her face, and Anu is just like crawling up Sai Kamatani. They did a really great job building to that. I know there was a lot of people upset we didn't get much of a Momo versus Saya build for Crimson Nightmare, which I agree somewhat, but you can't disagree. The match was great. But here we are about 5 weeks out, and we're starting to get some build with Saya and Soriano. And the fact that Saya wasn't even in this match, but we still got something, I think it was really good. So I was like, and I know a lot of people like, Matt, they beat Soriano in this match. Well, they did, so Kamatani can come in and show her the belt. I'm willing to bet because we saw how they built the Tam versus Saya match, the Sayaka Kurora versus Saya match, and the Izumi versus Saya match. I'm willing to bet you're going to see Soriano pin Saya Kamatani at least one time between now and Dream Queendom, obviously in some sort of tag match or some sort of preview match. I would love to see we get a straight up. We're going to get a lot of Cosmic Angels versus Hate matches between now and Dream Queendom. If we just do Sorry Boy, Anu and Soriano versus Sai Kamatani and either Rina or Konami or Momo if she comes back, which I think you hold the Momo return until Dream Queendom. But if we just get just a tag match where it's Soriano or Sai Kamatani and any member of Hate, again, I'll take a Konami versus Sorry Boy. Put that in the main event of any show, and you're going to sell out the building. So I think you're going to see Soriano get at least one pinfall victory over Sai Kamatani leading up to Dream Queendom. But I really enjoy, again, the match was great. Really enjoyed the post-match angle. And again, it looks like they're going to sell out whatever tickets they have. My guess is like 5,000 tickets will be sold by this time next month. Main event time, folks. B Priestley and Saya Ida Coming in here, taking on the team of Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kura. For some reason, I don't have the points written on my notes. Bear with me one second here, folks. So, okay, we have Aya and Sayaka coming in with 4 points. Saida and B. Priestley coming in with 8 points. So, again, this would be a huge, huge win. This will put Saya and B up to 10 points. They're on a roll as well here in the Blue Goddess League here. We get some great wrestling with Aya and Saya. Eventually, the wrestling stops and we get the chop and kick fest that we knew we were going to get. We got it a few times sprinkled in here. Thoroughly enjoyed that. We get some great Aya and Sayaka, great teamwork on the Saya Ida. Eventually, Ida's able to escape. We get a hot tag to B. Priestley. B comes in, forearms and knees. And again, B looks like she's having the time of her life back in Stardom. And you just can't help but like feel how infectious she is, just absolutely loving what she's doing in Stardom. I've had friends of mine that have worked on shows that she's done on the indies before she signed with Stardom full time, which she's only done a few of them. They're like, she's the nicest person. So and you only want good things to happen for good people. And again, B. Priest just like so happy to be back in Stardom here. Really great back and forth here. B comes in, she hits the basically a rock bottom and a second rope double stomp to Aya's back. That scores B a 2 count. B goes for a big running forearm. However, this was great. Aya counters this forearm with a rolling arm bar into the triangle choke. That was terrific. B gets to the ropes. She fights off Aya. She hits a running B trigger. That scores B a 2 count. Give me a B and Aya Sakura 10-minute match. This stuff was really terrific here. Aya and Sayaka, they hit stereo missile drop kicks from the second rope. Again, I'm loving what I'm seeing with Aya and Sayaka really gelling as a team here. And it's a free preview for the next New Blood Tag Team Championship match because these are your poster girls for New Blood because that's the only championship New Blood has. So you're seeing on these shows, these are the New Blood champions. You're going to see them main event either defending the belts or wearing the belts on the show. So it's almost a free preview for the New Blood brand, having Aya and Sayaka having these great matches, which this obviously was. Again, double stereo dives from Aya and Sayaka. That sends Saya and B to the floor. Aya takes advantage of this beautiful dive onto the floor. Aya then, we get back into the ring. Aya throws B into the ring. Aya hitting a jumping knee strike off the top ropes, very similar to one Tam Nakano. Then we see Sayaka Kurora come in with the violent shooting. So the Tam lore is definitely alive and well 7 months after Tam has retired and vanished. Still have not heard anything from Tam Nakano. B fires up. We get a B trigger and a B trigger lariat sandwich from Saya and B onto Aya, scoring the Stars team a 2 count. B goes to the top rope for that double jump, double stomp we've seen her do so much. Sayaka is able to dodge that, and Sayaka hits a big spear scoring Sayaka a 2 count. I'm like, man, are we going to get a Sayaka pin over former World of Stardom champion B. Priestley here? That would be something. Saida comes in for the save. We go back to that, as I mentioned on the last B and Saya match. We get the Stars wheelbarrow DDT on the Sayaka, scoring the Stars team a 2 count. Aya comes in with a huge head kick onto B. Priestley, and then we see Sayaka Kurora with that leg capture roll up that she calls the Prism Lock onto B. Priestley, scoring a 3 count. 13 minutes, 38 seconds. I thought some of the matches I wish would have got a little more time. I think right around 14 minutes was perfect. This was great. Great back and forth between the two. We get a handshake. This was terrific. Great way to close out this show, giving Sayaka and Aya, moving them up to 6 points. 4 stars for me. Again, these two shows were great, but this match, 4 stars for me. Thoroughly enjoyed it. A really great way to send the crowd home happy with some great professional wrestling action. Folks, before we get into EO and Kyrie Watch, can't believe I'm an hour and 10 minutes talking about two shows by myself. Let's look at the standing. So, Red Goddess League, we have our leaders. And again, this is as of the 25th of November. BMI 2000 sitting at 8 points. Coming in second place, Soripoi, Soriano Natsupoi, they're 8 points. But as I mentioned before, BMI 2000 do own the tiebreaker as they did defeat Soripoi back at the show that we just talked about. So BMI 2000 right now are the 1 seed. Soripoi is the 2 seed. Now the 3 seed is a little bit confusing because we do have DML 7 points, Aqua Stellar, which is May and Eunice, 7 points, but they did have a time limit draw. So it'll be interesting to see how that one shakes out. Do we have a one-play playoff in? Very much like we saw at last year's five-star Grand Prix. So we currently have a tie at third place. We have Hina and Rani Yagami. They're in 6 points, but from what Rob has here, they're technically eliminated, I believe, because I don't think that they can because they have wrestled all their pretty much all their matches. So Hina and Rana, yes, they have wrestled 7 matches, so they are at 6 points. However, they cannot make the playoffs. Bozil and Akira, they are still somewhat alive at 4 points. Suri and Miku Kanai, they are somewhat alive at 4 points. And Reckless Fantasy are at the bottom of the block. They are eliminated with 0 points. Folks, we go to Blue Goddess, Mega Skyscrapers, Hanako Mega Man. They're at 10 points. My guess they have clinched a playoff spot. I just don't see any way that they are not in the top three. Saya Eat and B Preezy, as I mentioned before, have wrestled majority of their matches, but they do have 8 points for a really good shot at the playoffs. In third place, we have the Tokyo Towers of Ami Sori and Lady C. They're clinging on to that last playoff position at 6 points. Also at 6 points is Shuri and Saki Kashima. But if you do remember, it is Ami Sori and Lady C getting the win over Shuri and Saki Kashima. Also in third place is Konami and Rina. So let me back up a second. So in the third place spot right now, we have Ami Lady C at 6 points, Shuri and Saki at 6 points, Konami and Rina at 6 points, Sayaka Kurora at 6 points. But we do have the Tokyo Towers have beaten all those teams, so they do own the tiebreaker. So very interesting there that the fact that Sayaka Kurora and Aya have a shot at making the playoffs. But the other two teams in Blue Stars that do not have a shot, O2 Line, crazy that O2 line 1 and 4, 2 points are eliminated, and Suzu and Rina obviously dropping a lot of falls because of Suzu being sick. So a lot of forfeits there. So Blue Stars is pretty crazy. So just to kind of give an idea, I'm going to say BMI 2000 goes through, Soripoi goes through, and I'm going to say DML goes through. Blue Stars, Mega Skyscrapers, I'm going to say they go through. I'm gonna say I and Sayaka go through, and then maybe Sai and B Priest. I don't know who wins this now. Maybe DML, and then they unmask, and they're like, "Oh, we're really FWC the whole time," or maybe it's Soripoi. They win the whole thing, and then maybe because usually the goddess winners will challenge at Dream Queendom. We've seen it last few years. Maybe Soripoi wins, but they save their challenge because obviously Soriano's wrestling Sai Kamatani. Maybe that Soriano holds her challenge and Natsupoi, they hold their challenge until one of those shows on the third. Because you need a big match on the third for those two shows, I believe, at Shinjuku Face. So maybe that's the way they go. I'm gonna obviously my predictions way out. I'm gonna say Soripoi wins the whole thing, and they parlay that match until 1-3. Maybe that's the way they do it. So I don't know, folks. Your guess is as good as mine because I thought the O2 line winning it, but at least I thought they would have made the playoffs, considering the fact that you have you have 8 teams in each block, and it's you only need to make the top three. The fact that the O2 line is out with still a few shows to go. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to shake out. Folks, let's get into Io and Kyrie Watch. So we have two different segments we go to as we're building up for War Games. We go to SmackDown. We are at Team Rhea in the ring, where it is Rhea Ripley, Io Shirai or Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, and Charlotte Flair. They know that they have a fifth person for their team, and who is the fifth person? Is one AJ Lee. As AJ Lee comes down the rampway, before just as her music hits, we get the jump. We get the jump from the Team Kabuki Warriors. So it is Nia Jax, Last Legend, Kyrie, and Asuka. They jump they jump Team Rhea. AJ Lee sees this. She runs down the rampway to make the save. However, Becky Lynch, who is the fifth person on Team Kabuki Warriors, that's just what I'm going to call it. She comes in and she jumps AJ Lee down the rampway, and we get the heels kind of winning the beatdown, getting more heat onto Team Kabuki Warriors and more babyface sympathy on the Team EO. So great job setting that up. And then on Monday Night Raw, just the other day, we had the heels come out to do a promo. They come in and basically say, "Hey, we beat down to Io and Rhea. We beat everybody down." And the baby faces come in and they basically get their heat back, get their shine back. So just a couple promo segments, but really good promo segments setting up this 5-on-5. So again, folks, it is Rhea Ripley, Io Shirai, Io Sky, AJ Lee, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss taking on Becky Lynch, Lash Legend, Nia Jax, Asuka, and Kyrie. War Games coming up this Sunday. My prediction is I'm going to say the Kabuki Warriors get a win here. I think that team is going to get the win, but I wouldn't be shocked if Kyrie does something costing Asuka the match because it seems these last 2 or 3 weeks, Kyrie's now going along with the plan of Asuka, where it really seemed like they're planting the seeds of eventually a babyface turn, and a big Kyrie versus Asuka match. So maybe this is where we kind of built it up. We break it back down. This is really confusing for me. I haven't been good on predictions, even when AEW did their version of War Games a few weeks ago, Blood and Guts. I said Team Tony's going to win for the women, and the Death Riders are going to win for the men. And I went 0 for 2 on that one. So I'm going to say that it's going to be Team Roman win for the men, and that Team Kabuki Warriors win for the women. I wouldn't put any money on that. But folks, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Again, Rob and I are going to try to get out a preview episode for the shows this weekend. So just a quick, maybe hour and change podcast of what we think is going to happen, because it's really up in the air. Again, I'm going to say, and my prediction may change in a day or two. I'm going to say Sorry Boy wins, and they parlay their goddess win on the show on the 3rd. So again, who knows? Who knows? But folks, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Again, thank you for bearing with me on this solo episode. I was glad my voice was able to hold up for about 80 minutes of great action, folks. But let me know what some of your favorite matches of this tournament have been. Again, let me know. Do you think that was the best BMI 2000 match that we have seen? Their match with Sorry Boy just a few days ago. Let me know, folks. Questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and the Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and best way to get a hold of me. Folks, don't forget to give us a follow over at Talk Joshi 2025. This week on Talk Joshi, which I believe is going to be a solo episode as well, just because of the holidays, I'm reviewing the last 2 shows from Sendai Girls. So which was Lady C and Shuri taking on Team 200 kg, and then Team 200 kg defending the Sendai Girls championships against FWC. So that is what will be on your feed probably this weekend from Talk Joshi. But again, more than likely, that'll be a solo episode from me as well. So again, thanks for bearing with us the holiday season. I hope you guys are having a great holiday season. Be careful, be safe out there. I know that there is a lot of alcohol that likes to be ingested the night before Thanksgiving, because pretty much everybody is off the next day at work. So if you're going out, if you're having a few drinks, be careful. Get a designated driver, get a Lyft, get an Uber. Please be safe. We want you all back. Listen to us next week. Again, folks, if you're heading off to Japan, hit up me and or Rob and let us know where we're going to be at. We would love to meet you, hang out with you, take photos. Again, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and the Twitter is the easiest, fast, and best way to get a hold of me. Or, folks, you can shoot me an email. The email address is thestardomcast22@gmail.com. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for another fantastic episode of the Stardom Cast. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you. Like I always say, just not my podcast. It's our podcast. Because when all together, and everybody's different, everybody's special.